196. Oh, sorry. I think uh, I got cut off there. So, yes, we're back. We're doing a preview of the 196 North London Derby. It's a big showdown. Tottenham are looking to muzzle the Gunners. Can they do it? Join us as we look ahead to the match. With me is Chuma. Chuma will join us on the other side in a minute. In the meantime, come on, you Spurs. Hey. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So we are right back in it. Tottenham at home to Arsenal. Not London Derby, the 196th edition. The last time those guys were here, they beat us 3-2. Painful in many respects because of the way the match kind of panned out. I mean, it's probably one of those tough matches that we had at that point in time. But there's so many different dynamics going on this time around. We'll look in detail at those a little bit later in the show. But welcome, Chuma. Chuma, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm super good, very excited. Looking forward to this game. I'm not a huge fan of international break, so uh, glad that's over and done with. Congratulations to our former striker and record goal scorer Harry Kane on his 100th cap, and he crowned it as expected with 2 goals. So much credit to him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of people are saying that people have done with having Harry in the team, given how things are. But I mean, I always say things like, I mean, we didn't have him in the team last season. But he scored quite a lot of goals. I mean, he scored a handful of goals. Okay, granted, we consider quite a few in the meantime as well. You know, it's
Scoring goals wasn't the problem; it was conceding that was.
this is it. This is it. So, and I mean, we're so going to talk about so many things today. And I mean, Dave's already joined us already. Dave, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. So always a pleasure to have you. So, can you believe those clowns at the football association have Chad Bentoncourt for his banter with Son? They're a disgrace. Now, what do you think about that? I mean, we'll come to that in a minute, but let's just have a quick look at that. In the light of a the what happened, right? B, the potential punishment. C, could he, I mean, should he have been charged at all in the first place? And then how does that affect morale of the team? And all that sort of thing. What are your thoughts?
Well, before I begin, I'll preface this to say that these are the thoughts and opinions of Chuma. They do not reflect. I did a disclaimer. They do not reflect Common Spurs TV and everybody associated with it. But in my opinion, and I've written this down several times. Um, I grew up in Nigeria. I moved to the UK to start my further education. So I didn't ever experience racism or anything of the sort until I moved here. I didn't even know kind of like how it existed or if it existed. But over the years of living in this country for over 20 years now, it's dawned on me that there's ignorance and there's racism. And the two often get conflated together. I have had the pleasure of working professionally with some people who were very ignorant. And I say pleasure, but they were very good at their jobs, but they were ignorant in the fact that they've learned some things or they parrot some things or they know about some stereotypes or they venture into stereotypical banter. However, there's nothing malicious behind it. And how you know is when you finally stand up or you speak up and tell them, hey, what you said wasn't really cool. You could see how they backtrack, or some of them really realize, oh wow, I overstepped. I thought this was this, or you educate people on things and then you find out there's a lot of ignorance. More than racism. I always put the distinction between ignorance and racism is the action. If it's verbal and then there's an action again towards it that's malicious, e.g., violence or tending towards violence or something that harms the victim, then straight up it's racism. And I look at the statement Benton Cole made about Son, and I look at it, and one, he's friends with Son. Son helped him to settle down in the club when he moved in January, coming to a foreign country. Both of them are foreigners in the United Kingdom. Him a South American, and Son a Southeast Asian. In no way, shape, or form do I think he was being racist. However, I think he's very guilty of ignorance, of a high level of ignorance for someone who has played in the game and is as mature as he is as a man. I think he's guilty of ignorance and making a stereotypical statement that is racist, is a racist stereotype. But did he mean it maliciously? I think you can also see in how quickly he apologized, how quickly also Son understood that his teammate didn't mean it, but he was guilty of being quite foolish at a certain point in front of a reporter or a journalist. And that for me was it. It was done and squashed and pushed under the rag. For the FA to bring this up now, especially like you didn't do it 24 hours after the incident, you didn't do it 48 hours after, you do it now. I don't understand what the FA is trying to prove. Um, I always feel the Football Association is guilty of good intentions a lot of times, and the saying, "Good intentions, the road to hell is paved with good intentions," and it always ends up to me with some very hellish outcomes every time the FA try to do something regarding race or racism. I'm not saying he didn't say anything wrong. I just personally believe that it was an ignorant statement. And I think the punishment should have come from the club and not from the Football Association. Um, Also, because it was also aimed at his own teammate as well. And the teammate who the joke was addressed to and his people. I think that's where the forgiveness should have come from, or the or the judgment should have come from. But the FA will do what they do. I'm just think also hearing 6 to 12 games. I think that's more than a tad bit harsh, my opinion.
Well, I think one of the rationales behind what you're finding now in the way that issues relating to racism are being handled now is like they're going to the other extreme, if you like, in the sense that it's been accused in the past of being not not paying lip service to incidents of racism and not adequately punishing others, and effectively, they're looking now to what I call act as I mean, do things that would act as a deterrent to others, prevent them from doing that in the future. I mean, as a Spurs fan, obviously, it's something that is going to affect us negatively because it's a player that's involved in this case. Did what he do is it right? I don't think so. I mean, totally agree that it's totally wrong, right? However, like you said, there's a difference between racism and ignorance, right? And I would like to err on the side of ignorance because I don't know Benton personally. I've never met him, so I don't know what sort of person he is. But all the circumstances around it suggest that it's just what you might call playful banter that's gonna step too far. Having said that, I mean, we don't know quite. I mean, how it's going to come down, but they're saying that it might be banned up to six to 12 games, and that I think that is over the top, considering the circumstances of this sort of situation. And everything I think should be based on its merits. I think you should look at what the situation was, what happened, circumstances, and then obviously make a decision based on that rather than just a blanket ban without thinking about what's how the whole thing arose. Are they going to ban Enzo? Are they going to ban those guys from Villa? I mean, what's the other one's name? Martinez from
Emi Martinez,
Martinez.
Alejandro Garnacho of United.
Wait. I think probably they need to. It's always a delicate thing. This topic. So yeah, you've got to sort of take a big a long view, if you like, or a sort of global view. Having said that, I would like to say a big happy birthday in advance to Dave. Dave is going to be 70 on
Oh,
Sunday
wow.
on the North London Derby, and my daughter is going to be 27. Can you believe that? Can you believe? So yeah,
Wow.
on the same day. So yeah, my birthday, yeah, my daughter's birthday twin, David. Thank you so many happy returns. Thank you for being here, for being such a faithful supporter. We appreciate you, and I'm sure that we'll give you a shout out on the live stream on the day as well. Well done, Dave. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dave.
Right. Um, Absolutely. I think I love this. Okay, so it says no, it's people today who are weak-minded. Son laughs about it. Is this weak football leaders who are woke and scared to look bad to those who push this Marxist agenda? Sounds.
I'm happy Dave is the one saying it and not
I
me.
know.
So
Oh God.
yeah, it's a world where I
This is
and
it.
you can understand it. Is where we are now in the world. Is um, people seeking to be outraged. Sometimes some people feel want to be outraged for you.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
sheer number of times I've seen people like tell me I should be offended by something. Um, there's this wonderful phrase that language risks offense. The whole point, you can open your mouth and say words, you risk offense at every given time. I think it was in defense of comedy when people said some comedians were going too far. Some comedians are making jokes about things to do with certain communities, and the comedian said language risks offense. Opening your mouth, you could say anything and anybody can find it. I could just say, hey, Soji, your glasses look weird. And you've taken offense. But I didn't say anything bad. It's just how you've taken it. So you risk offense, and some people are very keen to take offense. Some people are very keen to try to get retribution for the offense they feel they have felt. But I say it was addressed at Sonny, and I'm not saying Sonny took it as a joke. Sonny probably took look at it and said, "Hey, that stuff he said it wasn't cool." And Sonny made his, but Sonny said he called me, and I know he meant it from his heart that this is not how he intended it to be. It was a silly joke, and it didn't come off, and I'm so sorry I did that. And I can take Sonny at his word. Sonny so far, like I said, we don't know their personal lives, but Sonny strikes me as a very honorable man and someone with integrity. And for him to say, "Hey, this guy made a mistake," and he apologized, quickly apologized. It wasn't that he waited, like with the Argentine one, it took a while for Enzo to come out with his statement. And I'm not trying to throw Enzo and Chelsea under the bus or anything, but it took him a while to make his statement. And his statement was on Instagram or something, it was on social media. It wasn't like, but Rodrigo's one was there. Rodrigo called the person he hurt. I haven't heard Enzo calling Mbappe or any of the other French guys that they actually mocked. So there's a difference. And like you said, we're just happy the game's here. Let's move on to the game.
Yeah,
So
let's get the game. Yeah, not 196 North London Derby coming up. We've played 105 times actually. Now the guys up there seem to have the edge overall. So overall, if you look at the head-to-head record for both teams, you're looking at, I think they've won about 82 times, right? We've won 61 times, and we've had 52 draws in that time. So I think there was a period when we kind of beat them quite frequently, especially in the Pochettino years, you know. So yeah, I mean, obviously from Tottenham perspective, you're looking to sort of get back into some sort of rhythm in terms of of winning not London derbies. I mean, they hadn't won at ours in a long while before they won in April. But however, I mean, um, how things stand now. I mean, from a form perspective, team setup perspective, and how far they've gone in their redevelopment and what you might call it, you might say that they are ahead of us at this point in time if you're being objective, because they've challenged for titles. I mean, the last couple of seasons, even though they've come short both times, this time around, I mean, they've strengthened their team a little bit. They've got a few more players in. Timber is back from injury last season. Partey is
mhm.
playing more frequently, um, and then you have they've added a few more folks over the Calafiori, if you like, for the close season. So yeah, I mean they've strengthened just a tad, and I mean they got rid of I think they get rid of Eddie Nketiah or not? Is this still there?
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, he's a Palace now, yeah, in Ketia.
Yeah. So I mean, and they look a lot stronger than they probably were. I mean, we're a little stronger than they were last season. It's a question of saying it's a difference being on paper and reality. Where do you see them? How do you see this whole thing panning out? I know there's a lot to talk about on today. Let's have a look at both teams for starters. What do you
Well, well, I would say, I echo your thoughts. Um, Arsenal are a strong side. let's take away any let's take off our lily white goggles, and you have to come out and say that they are a very very formidable, strong unit. They're a unit. Um, they play well and win, and they win even when they don't play well, and that you know for me to say that, I have to be very honest. I love football and I love Tottenham in that order. I love football first and Tottenham. So I don't I don't fall into delusion as a Tottenham fan. Arsenal are playing very good football and winning games. Arsenal are also winning games when they don't play good football because they found a way to be effective and win. And Mikel Arteta has done a very credible job, but I believe a very credible job in remodel his side in the image of Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. And that to me I think is the key. He has found a way to create his side to be very much like Pep's side with a few minor differences. Um, and while a lot of credit could be put at all these other things, I think there were two things I noticed this season and compared to last season. And one was the appearance or reappearance of Thomas Partey in midfield. Thomas Partey in midfield, in that defensive midfield role, I think it really helps them. It allows Rice bomb up and down as a box to box guy, which I think is his strength. I don't think you know. I think they had this argument in the latest overlap about Rice collecting the ball from the back four and turning. He's not good on the half turn, in my opinion. So I don't think he's a really good defensive midfield player against certain kind of opposition or opposition that presses. But Thomas Partey is. Thomas Partey is a physical unit and he's quite good at what he does. And then the second part is now them fully working out that Kai Havertz is that false nine striker. Once they worked out Havertz was that guy, no longer trusting Gabriel Jesus or playing Havertz as this left-sided midfield, and it doesn't work for him. You play him up front or you play him behind the striker. But since they don't play a striker, he's the guy up front, allowing the two wide players to come in. I think once Arteta worked that out properly, it changed quite a lot for them. So I look at them as, yeah, they're coming into this regardless of anyone they're missing or any players that aren't playing. Um, yeah, Arsenal coming to this, in my opinion, as favourites to win the 196 North London derby. Make no mistake, Spurs aren't just going to lay down and let them have it. But in my opinion, they come in as favourites. They're playing well. They also have a mental edge, I think, because of their last victory and how they've sustained victories even when they're not playing well. So I think the leverage is with Arsenal coming to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to agree with Dave to an extent here, saying that Arsenal are not conceding goals at the minute. That's why this game will be quite difficult because it sees that look, we haven't put away. If we want to stand any chance of winning this game, we need to put away our chances. And if you look at all the games we've played so far, this is going to be our fourth game. Every game we've created a lot of chances. Apart from the Everton game, we haven't really put away chances that we've created. So it's win 1-1, lost one, drawn one, and it's time for us to get back to our winning ways, if you like. I mean, if if there's a better way to get back to winning ways, it will be against your local rivals, and I think we'll yes, if we could rise to the occasion on this one, that would be absolutely fantastic from Tottenham perspective. Now, having said that, though, I mean, where do you see how do you see Ant setting up? I mean, I know that everyone says Ant plays one way, right? And given that we don't have this, we're going to be without Bissouma. He's been injured during the Nations Cup qualifiers that he went to play for Mali, and he actually scored the only goal. You know, international duty. That's one of the reasons why we don't like national duty, right? because
Oh
because
yeah,
of
very
country,
much so.
you know.
Very
But
much.
they will also point out the fact that they'll probably be missing someone like Rice because he's suspended, and also the Odegaard is also missing because of injury. I don't know how serious that injury is. If he's going to be out, but I mean the reports are suggesting that he's not going to be available selection for that match. Now, I've heard what's his name? What's that young man's Nedum or Noah, right? On the BBC and he and Cesc Fabregas were comparing, we're sort of previewing the North London Derby, and Cesc said, "Look, this is a bigger game for Arsenal than it is for Tottenham," and he gave his reasons being that Arsenal are chasing the title, and if we lose, if Tottenham lose, it wouldn't be a big deal for us, but it would be a big deal for Arsenal if they lost. And he used the expression "no disrespect." And anytime I hear that expression "no disrespect," it gets me back
No
up.
disrespect and with all due respect mean no
So
respect.
I'm about to be disrespected. So
Nah,
you know.
it's
Now,
disrespectful.
Nedum said something which I'm pretty sure we spoke about offline, which is this. I mean, when it comes to fans banter, if we won that game, or if we win that game, you come, oh, we didn't have Rice, we didn't have Odegaard, you know? Or if we lose the game, they say, oh, we beat you even without Odegaard and Rice. You know, so it's
Facts.
a no win,
Facts.
you know? But
Facts. No, it's
it's,
facts.
that's
Facts.
that's football for you, you know? We wish you well, David Clark. Dave says it's a bit hard. I mean, housebound at the moment because he needs to get another artificial knee. That's what
No,
he
no,
gets for
no.
playing
All the,
football
yeah,
non-stop for 22
wish you,
years.
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. When you play football for 26 years. Yeah, no, no. Wishing you speedy. I hope they can get it within 6 months, Dave. Hope so. But yeah, with regard to what he's saying, as in, I agree with him. Arsenal need to win this match more than Spurs do. It's true. I actually agree with Fabregas. However, this is the thing that's quite interesting. We went on this 10 game um, winning streak, or 10 games where we didn't lose at the start of last season, and it was beautiful. It was amazing. And then look at how it ended up in the running. So I look at this season as, if we don't kick off as well in the first 10 games, but we have a better running, wouldn't that be better for us? So I still take it that whoever loses this game loses this game. I've seen Man City start badly. I'm not comparing Spurs or Arsenal to Man City, but I'm just saying, as much as it's a wake up call for players, I think it's. I really don't think this result means anything. If Spurs lose, it'll be their second loss. You don't want to lose four before Christmas. That's usually the thing. But that's only if you think you're challenging for the league. And in my opinion, I'm sorry for Spurs fans or common use Spurs Nation fans out there, I don't think Spurs are going to challenge for the title. That's just my honest opinion. So I have no hopes of winning the title as a Spurs fan. I don't know if anyone else does. I don't think so. I don't think this squad is ready to challenge for a title. Arsenal, on the other hand, have built for 2 years or 3 years to get to be title challengers. So it does mean a hell of a lot more for them to win this game than Spurs. And but David says his concern is Udogi. Yes, I've noticed that as well. I think Udogi didn't have a preseason. I look at that as something that is informing the form he has at the moment. Is he did not have a preseason. He looks slightly out of it, in my opinion. I've watched him in these games and he's playing, but I can see that he's not really himself. He's trying to be himself. He's really making it an effort, but it's not coming off, and he's making defensive mistakes because of that. But I think slowly he's building himself. For the Italian national team, he had a wonderful assist 2 games ago. I think it was brilliant. He played quite well. He came on as a substitute. I think he played really well. So he's building up his match legs. I hope and pray that in this game, so that he will be what he should be. But yes, I agree with you, David, that he is, yeah, Solanke.
All right. And
Solanke.
I'm not going to get tired of correcting folks and how they pronounce his name. It's okay. But if the real pronunciation for Sholanke's name is Sholanke, right? Sholanke, not Solanke, as most people tend to pronounce it. But that's okay.
Wait, you mean like Shola Amiobi?
I know, right?
Shola. So it's the same as Shola. So think
I
of
know,
Shola Amiobi and
exactly.
think Shola Anke. Shola Anke. Because that's the only way you can explain
Yes,
this to
exactly.
anyone.
So it's Sholanke, exactly. So yeah, that's right. Beautiful. But I mean, the key is this, right? Sholanke has been quite He's been injured. I mean, he's lost he hasn't played a couple of matches now, right?
Yeah.
And he's played one match and then got injured. So we're hoping that he's back. You know, what a story will be for him to score on his first London, not London derby. That would be fantastic. And he end up
Oh,
on the winning side.
there are also certain rumors he's a bit of a Darren Bent, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
That he was a
seriously?
childhood, yeah, that he's a childhood Arsenal fan.
Oh, really?
I've heard those stories. I don't know how true they are. I
Yeah,
heard he
but
was a childhood Arsenal
those
fan.
things happen. The football professionals, they go on and do the job. So hey, I'm
As
pretty,
was allegedly Harry Kane. So
yeah,
let's keep getting more of them that can score goals. I'll take that.
this is it. This is it. Now, I said Van Ver may be available as well. So let's see how that pans out.
I thought Dragusin was quite good in the last game. He was really he really stepped in very well. I thought he played excellently defensively. There are certain things he did against Newcastle that were really
But he
spot on.
made a crucial error though, which led to that goal. You know,
Exactly. But
which
it's one of yes understanding. I think we were arguing about. I think on the group we're
yeah,
arguing Romero's
working playing
responsibility.
as a group at the back because that is so important. When yeah, everyone is on the same line. You don't play someone on side because of your positioning. You ensure that but that sort of small lapse in concentration led to them. I mean, that goal being scored. I mean, but there you go. I mean, that's one of the reasons. I mean, you still had to chase back and get him, and Udogie fell over, and he couldn't get to Isaac or to what's that guy's name? I don't remember the guy's.
God,
Gosh, Clark, is it? No. Kelly.
is it
Yeah,
Gordon
Kelly.
or
Kelly.
Clark?
Yeah, Kelly put the
Who?
cross across
Oh yeah, Kelly, yeah.
Kelly to
To
Clark.
Isaac, yeah.
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 Anyway,
But
then
if we go back to the Newcastle game, sorry,
yeah,
um, if we go back to the Newcastle game, I thought Spurs played very very well. Like the result is something that as soon as you see the result, you go. They actually did what I think we do to Man City. They did that to Spurs in that game where Man City play everything and Spurs just hit them. Newcastle actually did a Spurs Man City to Spurs, and
absolutely.
we controlled the game. We dominated for periods, but we did not take our chances. We did not execute. And as you know, in the Premier League, quote unquote, according to our good friend, the League of Gladiators, if you don't execute, you get executed. So
This is it. This is it.
yeah,
I mean, Dave says that if Arsenal lose to Spurs, then the next game against Man City, the Premier League hope title chances will be derailed. I mean,
I don't think I still don't think so. I think try if you can try to keep your losses down to six games all season. If they're facing Man City, and that would be their second loss, that's not a problem. Two losses, if you can get to Christmas with two losses, maybe maximum three, you're in with a shout. That's my opinion because they will always go on a run. They will always have teams that will blow out the park. There are lots more teams that Arsenal can blow out the park than there are teams that they have to fear. So they're looking at Liverpool, they're looking at Man City, maybe United, maybe Chelsea and Spurs as the only teams, and Villa as the only teams that they have to prepare for. Don't forget, young children's brains are not developed at the age, so you can understand why they would be Arsenal. What is that? Is that is that very David? I don't know if you've seen the video. Is making it round on X where Louis Thoreau is doing a documentary and they're talking to this young man who's had mental health issues or he had a brain injury and he's showing his Arsenal shirt and he says, "Oh, I'm an," and the guy goes, "Were you an Arsenal fan before after the brain injury?" And he just it was an innocent statement by Thoreau, but the way it comes off was like it came off really bad.
oh goodness.
Apologies if I wrecked that
Uh,
joke, but that's how it just like when you before your brain injury, when you're an Arsenal fan, like why would you support them? He was like, Arsenal are going to be champions or something, and he just said, "Oh, was your brain injury before or after you became an Arsenal fan?" So yeah,
right. We'll come to the predictions later on, but hey, Dave is saying that on another sports podcast, at the top of the prediction league, and he has Spurs winning 2-1. Listen, I have Spurs
That's
winning,
me. That's
winning
me as
1-0
well.
anyway. So
That's
hey,
me as well. That's me as well. That's me. I have this. I just have this feeling, and this is just me saying it here. So if it comes true, please clip this. I have this feeling that Madison will find himself in that game. I think Madison will come out and like I don't know why. I just think Madison is going to explode. I think there's something about to happen, and I think if you remember the last North London derby, that the one at their end last season, 2-2. Madison enjoyed that game. That's where Saka
yeah,
mocked him with their hand
with the
with the
darts.
dart celebration, and he
Yeah.
and he and he skinned him to set up Son. Then he now took the ball off Jorginho. There is something. I just think that Madison. You
And
know,
he understands he understands the derby more than most. He knows what is
yeah.
at stake, and yeah, he always plays his play. I mean, the last two matches he's played his heart out, and I don't expect anything different this one. Let's just have a quick look at some of the predictions. I mean, you reckon 2-1? Is that what you think?
I think the same. I actually think they'll take the lead. I think Arsenal will take the lead and they'll be lulled into a false sense of security. And I think Spurs will hit them with 2 goals, probably from two very unexpected sources. But I think Madison will have a hand in both goals. I think it's 2-1. I don't know why I think 2-1 to Spurs. I agree with David. I share that as well. 2-1 to Spurs. Um, yeah, 2-1. Excuse me.
Okay. I'm the eternal optimist, so I'm gonna go for broke as always. Because I mean, I think if you look at the number of chances we've had this season, all right, it's enough to give a lot of teams, the heebie-jeebies. I don't know any match when we haven't had 20 shots on goal. It's been like that all of the seasons thus far. And it might be a bit different with them because I mean, obviously, because they're a good team and can't. I think probably win by 3 goal margin. That's what I think in this match, at least 3 goal margin. But hey,
Oh, wow. You're going extra optimus, are you?
all right, gotta go for broke, man.
I
Gotta
like that.
go
I
broke.
like that. I like that.
And I think that young boy will cause a lot of mayhem for Ben White, on that right hand side.
Ah,
You know,
Odegaard.
Oliver, right? And he also
I think tomorrow we're discussing more about lineups and everything else. I think by that time we'll have a clearer picture. I think tomorrow who's going to be around. I think so.
yeah, I mean, if you want to join us tomorrow, we're looking at the North London Showdown, and let's see how guys are going to line up and what the match is going to look like in a bit more detail. But this is just a general thing. We're looking at how a bit of the history, how matches have played out in the past, and where we are today. Now, Dave says that he thinks that Madison and Bergville get paired up uh, just like last season. Sorry, before very very soon. Let's see what happens. I mean, I'm not sure if Bentancur doesn't play. He has quite a few. He has quite a few decisions to make, doesn't he? Because Bentancur being unavailable, Madison being unavailable, so Bissouma being unavailable. What does he do?
You know what's quite interesting is what's really interesting is I know Bergval is this very creative player. He's like an 8, slightly a 10, but there's just something in me that thinks that boy can play a not exactly a defensive midfield player, but he can play a sitting role in a different way because he reminds me so much of the Dutch player at Barcelona, Frankie de Jong. He just has
he,
Frankie moves, and
he has a bit of steel in him. You can see that. He has.
yeah, yeah, and you can tell he likes to mix it as well. So I'm looking at him and I'm going like, it could be such a shock to everybody that everyone thinks is going to be, it could be. I could literally play if Spurs ever went to play a 4-2-3-1. I could literally pair him and Archie Gray in that middle as the two, then play a left winger Madison and the right winger Kulisevsky or whoever behind Sholanke. And I think it would work. I don't know why, but I like David said before Christmas, I honestly believe that before I'd go more January, February. I think Bergval and Archie Gray would be in the starting lineup. I don't know how, but I think both of them will be. I don't know how they will do it, but I think both of them will be in that starting lineup. I see, I see so much in him. Like he's so the way he twists and turns, and gets the ball on the half turn. He doesn't mind getting it with two people on him and turning around and very quick 1-2 touches. I really like. I am so impressed. Like I love what we call ballers, techers. I love guys like that. And Bergval to me is everything. And I think we got him at the right time in his life because had it been another couple of years, we wouldn't be able to sniff someone like Bergval. David said, "My concern is we're still conceding Sunday morning park football goals." Just yes, but you see that I think we concede those goals because we are so committed to trying to score. And also, this is just my personal opinion, David. You're a football guy. Um, I'm not a huge fan of two players in the back, like the way Ange builds up two. He plays two. He tucks in the two midfielders, so like a 2-3-4-1 or 2-3-5. That's a whole thing, and it's a Pep thing as well. Pep used to do that, but you could either alternate or you could go to a three. I like the three. I think there's more security in the three, whereby both fullbacks are not tucking in. Either you leave Udogi. I wouldn't say Poro because I don't think it's Poro's place to defend it. I don't think he defends very well. But if you leave Udogi sort of like in a three with Van der Ven, and that's why if Van der Ven played Udogi's position, it would work so much because then he could just literally be a back three and then have midfielders. I think it would work so much. I think that's the one tweak if Ange made. It would make his team so much more defensively solid because with Pochettino, I always outline this with Pochettino. Pochettino had Kyle Walker and Danny Rose, and both of them used to fly forward, right? So they weren't staying back. But what he had was he would have Dyer in defensive midfield, later on Wanyama, or even Musa. They will come back and they'll allow Vertonghen and Alderweireld, Toby, they'll allow them stretch out. So it was so nice. It was a three. And we controlled games. Spurs had some of the best defensive
Yeah, but
records under
yeah,
Pochettino from that second season. And that's because that's why he had three at the back. If Ange can find it in himself to just make it three at the back some way, somehow, he would have more control and less hit on the break or the counter. That's just my opinion.
yeah, but having said that, though, I mean, okay, we've considered 2 goals this season so far, right? But I mean, obviously the um, third, we're going to play a fourth match now. First one was against Leicester, and the other one was against Newcastle.
Newcastle. Two goals against Newcastle.
Oh, sorry, 2 goals against Newcastle. Yes.
So it's
Um,
three goals
yeah,
in 2 games.
yeah, 3 goals in 3 games. Yeah, so it's like, ah, what I mean, like you said, you think that that might be a way around conceding those goals, but
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
feel like,
I think so.
yeah, I think,
Because you see, sorry for cutting. He doesn't believe in. So we always talk about the 6-6-6-6-6 play defensive, but Ange doesn't believe in the six the way it should be, where the six is like think of a prototype like Sergio Busquets that he controls everything, but he's so close to the defense. All he does is recycle very, very well and move the ball forward. But he's sort of like a shield. Ange doesn't believe in that because you see Bissouma up and down the place. Bissouma is like the everywhere man. He's just there's nobody sitting. If Ange played with someone who sat, I think it will help. If you're not going to get someone to sit, then maybe this is just my opinion. Pep never used to. He never inverted two. Arteta doesn't invert two. You invert one. I know it will make him seem more like a Pep guy to invert one, and this two has always. But I think if one inverts, the other stays. If the other tries to invert, the other goes back. If you could do that, I think we'd have more defensive stability.
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that if we'd love to hear from you if you're a Tottenham fan or you listening to us wherever you're listening to us from. This is Come On You Spurs TV where we talk about everything Tottenham. And if you're new to us, please subscribe, share this, and leave your comments in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. Your predictions on Sunday's game. Who do you think will come on top? Tottenham, or Arsenal. And give us your thoughts on what you think the starting lineup would look like. We would love to see uh, what your thoughts are on that in the comment section. Well, yeah, Chuma, amazing, amazing, amazing. Call him Encyclopedia of Tottenham. Football in-house football guru, But yeah, I mean, Dave has been fantastic joining us as always, But hey, I think what we also want to hear is this: what do you guys think about the way Tottenham's team is set up now? Are we gonna? How do you think we're gonna pan out for the rest of the season? There's been a lot of negativity in the ranks, if you like. People are saying all sorts of. I mean, some are going as far as saying Ange will be gone by Christmas. Can you believe that? I mean, I'm thinking, where do these people get it from? I mean, how? You know, I don't know. So I'm not sure what you think. What how do you think Arsenal will line up on the day? I know we're not here to talk about that, but hey, they're going to be our opponents on the day. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's same lineup they had before. Um, but I think in midfield, I don't know who they have in midfield to I think what's going to happen is they're going to play Timber in midfield. I think as Rice is gone, Timber comes into midfield. Either he comes into midfield or he'll play left back and invert into midfield to support Partey. And I think the front line will be Trossard, Havertz, and Saka. Now, who's going to replace Odegaard? Now, that's quite interesting for me. That I don't know. I think they could play different things. I honestly think they could also move Saka quite central as well. It's very possible that they could move Saka centrally, but I'm not sure. It's who's going to replace Odegaard is my that's actually my thing because yeah, how are they going to play in midfield? No Rice and Odegaard.
It's it's interesting, because if you think about both managers, I mean, both of them kind of inherited what you might call a project, right? In the sense that Arsenal, obviously, a rebuild project post Unai Emery, right? And thinking, okay, fine, how do we get ourselves back on track? And they've given him time. They've been there. This is going to be his fourth season now, and it looks like it started only yesterday. I know we were talking about him winning one FA one trophy, which kind of basically bought him time or gave him credit in the bank, if you like, and a couple of community shields, and we're talking about community shields there. When people were saying that, oh, community shields in the past
Not a
like
trophy.
a non-trophy, but Arsenal fans are happy to count it as one of the trophies they've won. But hey, each to their own. But there you go. Now they probably just say, yeah, what have you guys won? Okay, it's not a trophy. I'm just saying that. Look, I'm just trying to look at the impact of both managers and how their styles will clash on the day. Because think about it, right? Ateta has plays the Pep way, if you like, and Ange has been dubbed the Pep copier by as well by Gary Neville. I mean, obviously to I mean, to a bit of banter last season. So, what do you reckon? As in, how do both managers? I mean, the different styles, obviously, and where they are in terms of the development in terms of the objective. We always, I mean, Ange has been known to always win in his second season. Now, in everywhere he's gone. Now, I'm not. We hope that he doesn't buck that trend with us, and obviously, hopefully that he wins something this season as well. But how would you reckon? I mean, contrast I mean, compare both managers, their style, and where they are now in terms of the development of the team.
I think Ange Postecoglou is far ahead of what was expected of him at Spurs. But it doesn't seem that way. It doesn't look that way to the naked eye, because Spurs fans, as soon as he started winning or as soon as he started doing well, started expecting heaven and earth. And naturally, as Spurs fans, you get deflated when you start thinking too far ahead. But in terms of imposing his style, his the way he plays, I think Dave wrote, you can't sustain the fact that you need to score 3 goals to win a game. It's not a recipe for success. It isn't a recipe for success. He's won games with 1-0 in his career. However, what he wants is enough control to be able to take the ball from the opposition that they can't harm him. And that, I think, is what he's still working towards. It's a wonderful ideal. It's not for everybody. Um, he doesn't need to win. He score 3 goals to win a game. He just needs to control the ball and know that he can score and he can win. Um, like nobody talks about Pep. If Pep's team give you three, teams give you two or three. I'm not saying he's Pep. I'm not saying he's trying to be Pep, but Pep is the standard which everybody is measured by. So if you're applauding Pep for this, you should applaud him for that as well. With Arteta, I think he gleaned so much from Pep Guardiola. I really do. I think if Ange Postecoglou had been assistant to Pep, he would be so much further ahead than he is now as well. You know, but Ange has formed his thing from watching, learning, observing, and the experience. Um, and people go, well, Ange has had more experience than Arteta, but Arteta has been in England. He played in England, and he was coached by people like Arsene Wenger, and then met Pep Guardiola. I think that is much more of an internship than Ange Postecoglou ever got. So everyone's saying his 3 years intensive plus his playing career in England has prepared him far better. Ange never managed in England. If this was Ange's second or third job, I would understand a direct comparison. There is no direct comparison to me between Ange Postecoglou and Arteta. They are two different kinds of managers. Arteta, I think, has a very solid um, football base. His teams are very solid. He knows You see, Arteta, because he's played in England, knows the power of defending. He knows the power of having a very strong defense. And on the other hand, I think it's because of where he's come from and how he's played that he is more open. You think of who his mentor was, Frank Puskas. Puskas was an all-out attack guy, so his foundation is all-out attack. Football hasn't changed in 150 years. You score goals and you stop your opponents from scoring. Ange's system only does one of these. Well, in a situation where, okay, so what do you call every game where he has a clean sheet? Let's just say, or he has a clean sheet, or they don't score more than one. Would you say that he's working well against Everton? Did he work well, or what would you say regarding that? You know, all I know is this: that he's working towards a system whereby he can get this thing where you score goals and stop your opponents from scoring goals. But his idea of stopping his opponents from scoring goals is by having the ball and scoring, or keeping the ball away from his opposition. And that's what he's struggling with, or that's the challenge. I won't even call it a struggle. I call it a challenge. Will he be able to solve this challenge? I don't know. We're only watching and
The
seeing.
matches I've seen so far, I have to say this, right? We're conceding less transitions than we ever did in the whole of the last season because, I mean, I know goals have come from breakaways and stuff like that, but you're not going to have 90-minute possession all the time or 100% possession. So you're going to have times in the match when the other team are going to have the ball and try and bring the ball away from wherever you are. But what I've seen so far from what we've been doing this season is like we've controlled a lot of possession. We've stopped transitions. Of course, on the odd occasion people get away, but overall, I think they haven't done too badly. It's Chris Peter, thank you very much for joining us. Says Arteta learned everything from Pep. Yes, I mean, guess again. Maybe he didn't learn a lot from Arsene Wenger. He played under Arsene Wenger, but hey, there you go. Yeah, I mean, thank you for that. What, uh, what are we saying? I mean, overall, you think Ange is way ahead of Arteta in the same period for amount of time they spent at the club, yeah? And this is
No, yeah, I think Andrews, and the only difference I think is personnel. I believe this is just my personal opinion. Anyone can say what they want to say. Everyone has their right to their opinion as well. My opinion is if you gave Ange Postecoglou Pep's side right now, he would have amazing results. You gave him that back four, Pep, Gvardiol, Ruben Diaz, Akonji, and Walker. You gave him that back four. You gave him the midfield, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. Andrew kill people. Angie's system will murder teams literally on the pitch. However, he doesn't have that at Spurs. Now, some people's mindset, and this is what's so interesting is a lot of people go, oh, well, if he could only defend better, or be more conservative or, you know, giving or more pragmatic. But then we've had pragmatic. We've had pragmatic before. People are saying, well, he's an overcorrection because he attacks too much. But my goodness, attacking is way better than being pragmatic and defending. People say that can't win until if he wins something or when he wins something. You can now say, or when he doesn't win anything after he's, and you say, okay, thank you, fare thee well, you've served your time, so long as you kept us competitive. But okay, we move on to another manager. I was team Arne Slot, as you remember. I was team Slot and I was team Nagelsmann. And we went for Ange. I believe all three of them have similar kinds of things. And I believe even if we had gotten Slot and we'd gotten Nagelsmann, we will still be complaining about these same things because we're Spurs fans. And for us, the grass is always greener on the other side. I'm not trying to disrespect any. I'm not doing that. Well, let me not disrespect. I'm saying with all due respect, Spurs fans will never, ever, ever be satisfied. Never be satisfied with anything. I've never seen a happy set of Spurs fans because while we were in 1987, they were harking back to 1960. They'll be harking back to 1960 something and Greaves. Then now we're here. They're going about Huddle and all these guys. I was there. Huddle didn't win a league title. In the 80s, Spurs didn't win a league title. They won a couple of cups and they won a UEFA Cup. We keep doing this thing where we keep going back to the past. Why can't we just stay where we are? Support what we have. Look at the wonders of now. I think this guy is building something good. I think he's ahead of schedule in terms of what he's doing. In terms of he's only been in English football for one season. English football, not British football. English football for one season. He's done really, really well. He can still do better regardless of any losses or any fallbacks. He learns from his mistakes. He's getting better. We're getting better, but you can't see it because it's just narrow margins. Narrow margins. But watch what's going to happen when this thing clicks, or when it clicks the way it should click, when the players click the way they should click. I see things happening. I don't know about this second season winning thing. I quoted it as well. I said it. But I think what's going to happen is people are waiting to the end of the season to go, well, that's what happens when you join Spurs. Spurs are broken. Spurs broke his home winning streak. Spurs have now broken his 2-season trophy. I don't think so. I just think this man is committed to winning. I think his system will work. I think those young players are the key because, unlike the older players, they do not play with any sort of conservatism. They actually believe and they buy in quicker. That's my opinion from watching some of these young boys in the preseason. They are buying it way better than the older players. They are less
Yeah,
conservative. Go ahead.
yeah. Talking about fans and how they express themselves, social media, everywhere where you go, you hear all sorts of fans. I mean, have huge expectations on both sides, basically. Of course, we hear. I mean, guys like Dave Clark said. He goes on Arsenal podcast, and the furious that Arteta has been given 3-year extension to his contract when he's spent record amount in that time over a 4-year period and won only one FA Cup. Now, of course, it's paid 100 million for Declan Couscous. Sorry, Declan Rice. Sorry, and it's also paid big money for Timber, and spent a lot of money in that time frame. So I mean, we on the other hand, we also spend quite a bit of money as well. Given the only thing that we don't pay as huge salaries as other clubs pay, which is I say the top earner. I think it's Human Son. I think he's on 190 at the moment as far as the salary structures go. So, but it's not going to detract from the fact that when both teams step out on the pitch on Sunday, it's going to be an electric atmosphere. And of course, some would say that home advantage was very, very, very important. Do you agree?
Yeah, yeah. I think Spurs fans are they're very passionate about their side. I think one thing I know is when it comes to North London Derby, they're very, 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 very boisterous, very happy, and I think the fans are going to push the players as much as they can. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree with David in saying that I'm sorry, but Angie's best 11 doesn't match up to any of us, and so that's why you can't judge him. So you've literally answered your question, David. That's why you can't judge him as that because his players do not match up to any of our best teams from successful decades. That's why you can't look backwards. That's why you can't compare eras. I can't compare Britain in 2024 to Britain in 1960 either because there was a whole different time. The morality was different. The rules were different. The laws were different. There was no connectivity. There was no globalization. So I look at Ange and I judge him on Ange. I judge him now. If you're looking back to Spurs in the back era, these players can never match up to those guys. Those guys were probably technically better for their time. They were probably like we had internationals 1 to 11 that were really good internationals 1 to 11 in Spurs in the 60s. That I've seen. I've seen that. I've read that. I've read all that history. I've watched some stuff in black and white, some stuff in color. I've seen great players at Spurs, but for me, it's like that's why you can't judge. That's why you can't match. I can never put any of these players up to Greaves. And my dad told me so much about Jimmy Greaves, so much about John White. I can never match any of them. Gilzine, I can't. You can't match any of these guys to those guys. So be happy with what you have here and wish the best for them and hope they do well. I think he's a sensible guy, Ange. That's just my belief, and I think Ange can do well. That's just me. I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop. Yeah, I'm off in the next couple of minutes anyway. So
I know,
I'm
right?
going to
Anyway,
end
I
my
mean,
rants
derby
here.
day pressure, it's, that emotional state on that day can be amazing for both the players, the fans, and, everyone at home watching that. It has, the intensity always also has an impact on how players and they play and how how intense they can be. I mean, some people they shut up a bag of nerves. When they get onto that pitch, they either throw it away or some of them carry it with them all match. I remember Rob Holding, the last win that was
the
at West.
Conte year where we ran
Yeah,
him.
you know, he was all over the place, and he ended up getting sent off before the end of the first half, and Arsenal ended up losing 3-0 on that day. And I think he probably was the worst case of nerves when it comes to matches to North London Derby, as far as I can remember. And memorable match for us from a Tottenham perspective. Harry Kane came away with the brace on that day, and him and Son also scored a belter as well. So yeah, um, I know you have to go, and thank you so much for joining us, David.
Yeah.
Amazing, been
We'll be
absolutely.
back tomorrow.
Again, we'll be back tomorrow, of course. Yeah,
We'll
so
be
if you
back
join us
tomorrow.
tomorrow, same
We'll
time tomorrow.
definitely for more.
Yeah, so same time tomorrow from 6 p.m. We'll be here, and then we'll look in a bit more detail about the teams, injury list and players, and a lot more to look at. So 6:30 tomorrow, please join us where we'll look at the North London Derby and yeah, all of the match day atmosphere and all of that sort of thing. Yeah, so very much look forward to see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, thank you so much. In the meantime, we
Come
always
on,
say,
you smart.
come on, ye Spurs.
Nice.